My dad, I lived on a farm, and Dad had a farm truck, and the custom was to pile all the kids we could on that farm truck and drive 100 miles across desert and mountains and so on to get to camp. So bouncing along the highway in the back of that old truck was the way to get to camp. And one of the memorable times about that was in 1943 when we were told that there would be some Japanese American kids from the relocation center at Hunt near Jerome, Idaho. They would be going to that camp. And one of our guys said, "Oh, no, they don't. I'm not going to camp with those Japs are there." He probably said dirty Japs because that was the prejudice we were given in those days. And somehow the pastor and the counselor talked him into going to camp. He said, "Well, okay, but they'd better look out." Well, before the week was over, these kids were playing volleyball with each other and playing softball with each other. And when it was time to go home, it was this kid who'd been most against the Japanese Americans. "We got to go and take them back to their camp. It's 25 miles out of the way, but we got to take them home." So I saw a transformation, some of the grace of God at work, overcoming the prejudices that society gave us. And God led us beyond those things. My brother, Warren LaRue, was the district youth representative on the Camp Seeking Council. He was then a part of the first camp that was held, which was now Camp Sawtooth. And they just went up in this open woods, surrounded on three sides by national forests. And they had a 2-week senior high work camp, and they cut some brush, and they cleared some trails, and set up some pit toilets, and a cook tent, and got ready for the camping season. Well, he came home from that summer of 1949 telling the family, "I've decided I want to dedicate my life to Christ, and I want to be a minister in our church." So that was a special thing for our family. Now, the story continued the next year because Warren wasn't able to go to camp that year, and when he was time for him to go to college in the fall, instead he went to bed. He had had rheumatic fever as a child, and this was coming back. And in October of 1950, my brother died. At the service, there were a lot of kids from other churches came because he'd been the district MYF president. And the family, our family said, any memorial gifts that might come, we'd like to have them do something for Camp Sawtooth. And when they were ready to build a fireplace in the lodge, it had a little plaque dedicated to Warren LaRue. And it meant quite a bit to me to go back to that camp and see that his life had been touched and was touching others, still going on.